Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Recovery Classroom. My name is Drew. I'm an alcoholic, and today I'm a recovering alcoholic, and I cannot be any more grateful. Great crosstalk meeting last night. I encourage you guys to come on down and check out our crosstalk meetings. Just a group of like-minded drunks and drug addicts sitting around talking shop about how we got sober, how we're staying sober, and just having good general dialogue, good general conversation. Last night I was able to sit and talk with Drenda and Eric after the meeting. First time I've been able to do that for a couple weeks, thank goodness. So we finally decided that we're going to pull the trigger on something we've been talking about for a while now. Bigfoot was part of these original conversations, and so that's how long ago we've been talking about this. We're going to start a podcast where the three of us are, along with a invited guest that we bring in periodically. We're going to answer questions. We're going to try to share some insights into whatever topics you guys want to have discussed. It's going to be kind of like crosstalk, but virtual, if you will. And we're going to be releasing the details soon, but just stay tuned. Keep your eyes open for this new podcast that the Recovery Classroom is going to host. So I'm really excited about it, and I'm thrilled that we're going to be exploring this new medium, if you will. So keep that in mind. Keep your eyes peeled for that announcement. I want to talk today about who you surround yourself with and the importance of sponsorship. Last night, as I said, I went to the crosstalk meeting. I didn't think I was going to be there, but I was able to make it in, and I was so thrilled I was. But I got to sit in a room full of like-minded drunks and drug addicts, all sitting around talking shop about how we got sober and how we plan on staying sober, what we plan on doing. And we talked about a plethora of topics last night. Very good conversation, dialogue. It's important, though, that who you surround yourself with, I say this all the time, you want to surround yourself with like-minded individual. Now, if I'm an alcoholic and I'm trying to get sober, if I'm hanging out with people who are still drinking, chances are my success rate of staying sober is going to go down drastically, right? If you're a drug addict and you're wanting to quit using drugs, but you still hang out with people who are using drugs, then your chances of success drop drastically. There's a great saying in the rooms: if you hang around the barbershop long enough, you're eventually going to get your hair cut. So if I'm hanging out with people who are actively using, actively drinking, chances are eventually I'm going to start actively using. I'm going to start actively drinking. And that's why we say all the time, it's important who you hang out with. I choose to still hang out with drunks and drug addicts. The difference is I hang out with drunks and drug addicts who all share a common goal, which is to continue in their sobriety. That's it. And I do that weekly, twice a week right now, unfortunately, just twice a week. And so last night, as I said, I got to sit around with these folks last night. We don't always agree on everything, and we don't have to. But at the root of it all, the fundamental idea is the one that we all share. We just want to continue on this path of our sobriety and continue in this life that we currently have. Regardless of how imperfect or how flawed our lives may feel like right now, we still want to stay sober. And so that's what I mean by surrounding ourselves with like-minded people. People who share the same goal that I do, which is for me to make it to the end of my day drawing a sober breath. That's it. That's my goal. It's been my goal for the last however many days, almost 3 years now. And where sponsorship comes into play is it's even more critically important. The Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous has chapter 7, and a lot of folks refer to that as a sponsorship chapter. I don't necessarily agree with that because it says nothing about sponsorship, but it does say working with others. At the end of the day, that's all sponsorship is working with others. How do we work with others? Does my sponsor pay my bills? Probably not. Will my sponsor pick me up and give me a ride to the grocery store? He might. He might. There's no question about that. But he's not obligated to. Would my sponsor bail me out of jail? He might. He might not be able to. It depends. At the end of the day, at the fundamental root level of it all, sponsorship is nothing more than communication. Communicating with somebody with whom I have established a personal connection with, and someone who has something that I want, something who is willing to share with me what it is that they have. And so that's why we say it's critically important, especially with sponsorship, because the person that you've chosen to be your sponsor, you want to make sure that you're able to talk unfiltered to this person. You want to be able to tell this person your deepest, darkest secrets. All right? But at the end of the day, you're still talking. They're still talking. They're not going to buy you groceries every week or pay your electric bill every month. Their job is to listen and to provide advice, to provide suggestions. And that's the key, suggestions. Not to tell you what to do. not to tell you what to do. Anybody that I sponsor, I always tell them right up front, everything I share with you is going to be suggestions only. I will never tell you you have to do something. I don't believe that. So at the end of the day, the person you pick to be your sponsor, you want to make sure that they have the same mindset that you want, all right, that you're after, that you're actively seeking, that they want to make it to the end of their day drawing a sober breath. And if that's what you want, you got to make sure that your sponsor or potential sponsor has that. And then secondly, and I relate this to my own personal experience. I remember coming back in the rooms early on, and I met this guy who became my first sponsor. Dude, he had excitement, passion, charisma, enthusiasm, all for being sober. What I didn't know at the time, at that particular time, what I did not know is he was facing 10 years in federal prison. And yet he was that damn happy? So this guy genuinely had something that I wanted. I wanted to be excited to live my life again. I wanted to be excited to get sober. As scary as it seemed, I wanted to be excited to have another shot at this thing called life. And so that's the second thing you want to look at whenever you're trying to decide who you want to be your sponsor. Do they think and behave the way that you want to eventually think and behave? Okay? And then two, do they have something that you want? In other words, do they have that passion, that zest, that zeal, that excitement for living, for staying sober that you want to have? I knew for me, when I came back in, I knew that my life was a shit show. It was a raging dumpster fire. And in my mind at the time, there was no hope for me whatsoever. But at the end of the day, when I met my sponsor, my first sponsor, he had what I wanted. He had that enthusiasm for waking up and living his life. And that's exactly what I was after too. So two things I want you to take away from this. One, make sure that you surround yourself with like-minded people on the regular, not just with your sponsor, but everybody. Because at the end of the day, your success rate is going to be incredibly low if you continue hanging out with people who are doing the very thing you're trying to stop doing. And then two, when it comes to sponsors, make sure that they have something that you want, that they are thinking and behaving the same way that you may want to think and behave once you get to their designated point in time in your recovery, in your sobriety. I'm not saying, and we're going to talk about this over the next couple of days, matter of fact, but I'm not saying you have to think like they do, all right? I'm not saying that at all. The guys I sponsor, I want them to think for themselves. But the problem I see is that when they're first coming into a program like this, their thinking is all jacked up, right? And so I want to help them change what they're thinking and when they're thinking it, and give them better ideas to pick from in their thoughts as they progress. I don't ever want them to think the way I think. That's a scary thought for sure. So with that being said, I'll let you guys go. Thank you guys for letting me come in and share 5 to 10 minutes of your day with you. You guys absolutely keep me sober, and I could not be any more appreciative. If there's a topic you'd like to have discussed on these monologues, feel free to email me directly, Drew, D-R-E-W, at recoveryclassroom.org. We'll take a look at it, see what we can do, parse it out, see if we can get it made for you. So remember, guys, you can't get drunk if you don't take that first drink.